Cool. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Narrative Chase channel. I'm your boy Narrative Chase, and in this video, we're going to be talking about should the 2022 Batman been a part of the DCEU? This is the season 2 of episode 94 of the Streamline podcast. 94 episodes, sweet. Sorry for the last couple of weeks. I'll be getting things sorted out here with the website. And I'm going to be utilizing 3 channels now, 1 channel for the podcast, 1 for the music, 1 for the other content. So if I'm not uploading something on 1 channel, most likely I'm uploading at least the podcast and stuff on the other channel. So subscribe to all 3 channels if you haven't. That way you can get the best of what these channels have to offer. Now, not really. There's a couple more updates. A lot of stuff that I've been doing has been on the website and me working on my music as well. The music is scheduled to come out next month. So, guys, if everything's good, hopefully there's no more delays. We can go ahead and get into that and have the music coming out in May. It was supposed to be actually this month, but things happen, of course. So, enough of news. Anyway, let's jump on to episode 94 of the Streamline podcast. Now, I recently saw the Batman, and I am going to shoot a separate video of my initial thoughts and review of the actual movie. But just say that I actually really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really good. I already knew Robert Pattinson was going to kill the role. He definitely does a really good job of playing the character. I love Colin Farrell in the movie. He was actually pretty awesome. I definitely love Zoe Kravitz. She was a great Catwoman. Just ultimately all around, I thought the cast was actually really good. Great performances. The characters were actually pretty cool as well. I just really liked the movie. I gave you more in-depth thoughts about it in my review for the film. But there had already been kind of like this big thing about my thoughts about DCEU and the way Warner Brothers was going with the film projects. Now, DC has always, since the DCEU has been kind of doing its own thing, DC has made a lot of individual projects and a lot of trilogy projects as well. So individual projects would be like Superman Returns, you had Catwoman, we got Joker, then of course you got like the Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy, then the DCU kicked in. So DCEU is the cinematic universe of the DC universe, which I think is actually pretty good. I know a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't think that it doesn't fit together. I actually think it fits together really well. I like the different tones to it because different heroes and different stories have different tones to it, which is the biggest difference between what happens in Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad. 2 totally different tones that I think work for each movie based on the story that has been told. As well as the difference between like the lightheartedness and the fun of Shazam compared to the more serious tone of Man of Steel. So I think that each superhero, even like the different tones between Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984, I think because of the way the stories are being told, that they do deserve to have different tones to them. So I like how well-rounded the feeling of the tones of these films is. One of my things I don't like about Marvel, every Marvel movie feel like has the exact same tone. Despite how serious things are, still those fun, more watered down tones kind of pop up. The most serious one, I guess you could say, pretty much is Infinity War and Endgame, and even in them, they still have their moments of levity that you generally see in like what you saw in the Avengers, Ultron, Ant-Man, like the fun aspect, the childlike catering aspect is definitely there. But I can say at least the DCEU, the movies do have different tones based on the events and the stories being told. So that's one of my things. Now, one of the problems that I like Joker. I actually liked it. I thought it was interesting take on the character, and as well as an interesting origin story for the character. And when they were saying that they were coming out with a Batman film, I was like, cool. I like Ben Affleck's Batman. I think he's actually gritty. I like the older, more jaded Batman. It makes for a more interesting character, in my opinion, seeing his evolution from the no-kill policy, how he treats criminals, to him being like this just straight up brutal badass. I love that incarnation of the character. That character is honestly the reason why people fear the Batman, and I like that. I understand why criminals would fear fear him because he would torture and kick your ass. So I really enjoyed that. And then when they were saying it was coming out with the movie, I was like, fine, cool. We didn't get the Man of Steel 2, which I really, really want to see him reveal completely kills as Superman. But I was like, okay, Batman get his own little thing. We got Aquaman, we got Wonder Woman, we got Superman. Let's go ahead and give Batman his movie, especially Ben Affleck's version. Like I said, I really enjoyed the character. But one of the problems that I will say, but I was on the fence about it because when they said that this wasn't going to be connected with the DCEU, because there was a lot of production issues. There's a lot of there's a lot of production issues when it came to Justice League, a lot of production issues when it comes to the Flash, a lot of DC. Just I don't know who is running the production, who the producers are and directors and stuff. I don't know who's over there from Marvel's. I don't know if Chameleon then went over there from Marvel and just started sabotaging stuff over there at DC, but they just can't get their shit. I mean, Flash movie should have been out like two years ago. You know, the Justice League movie, I actually liked. I thought it was entertaining. Yes, the writing was terrible, but it was an entertaining film. And I liked seeing my favorite heroes come together. And then when Zack Snyder's cut came out, I was like, fucking awesome. I actually liked that movie. Weird stuff in it, weird choices in the movie. Overall, but it was still a really good movie. But so my thing is, um, I was on the fence about the Batman. Now, when they cast Robert Pattinson, didn't have an issue with him. I know everybody was like, "Oh, that guy from Twilight," but I'm like, man, have you seen his other movies? This man knows how to fucking act. And when they said, I was like, he has. I have no problem. I don't have any doubts that he's gonna kill him. Did a really good job with the character. I thought he did a really good role. Um, give me 1 second. Yeah, I forgot about this. And here we go. There we go. Welcome to episode 94 of the Streamline Podcast. And in this video, we're discussing why the Batman 2022 should have been part of the DCEU. Now, let's go ahead and get back into this. Now, I had no problem with the cast that they were going around. I did have a problem with the, what's his name that played Gordon? Let me see his name, because I actually like that guy. He's actually a really good actor. But Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright, I actually think did an exceptional job as Gordon, but unfortunately, Gordon's white dude. So that's really the only issue I had with some of the casting choices, particularly with him. But anyways, so I went and looked this up. Why? And on I don't know how to pull this up on the thing, but Screen Rant has a post that says why Batman isn't part of the DCEU, and early in this development, the Batman was intended as the first solo project for Affleck's Batman, with the actor also set to direct, write, and produce. Once Reeves was brought on, however, he expressed a desire to explore a Bruce Wayne still in the early days of his vigilante career, and Affleck ultimately left the film entirely. Could have still did that and been a part of the DCU. Was no different than when they did Wonder Woman 1984. You played a younger version of Wonder Woman compared to what you see in her in Justice League, as well as after what happened in the original Wonder Woman film. So what the fuck are they talking about? Rather than have Pattinson play a younger version of the DCEU character, however, the filmmakers opted to have the movie stand apart from their shared continuity, much in the vein of Todd Phillips' Joker 2019. And I even still say that was a bad move, but I'm not mad at them on that. Now, this is the part that kind of got me like, what the hell is this dude talking about? Now, as part of a feature on the Batman and Empire, Reeves and the producer, Dylan Clark, explained the reasoning behind the decision to make a standalone movie. For the director, it was most important that he be able to create an iteration with a personal aspect to it. Has nothing to do whatsoever with making this a younger Ben Affleck, and having to connect with all these other things in the DCU would have been an impediment to that process. You didn't have to, just like in Shazam, just like what happened in Aquaman. Those movies were part of the DCEU, but ultimately they really didn't connect to much to anything else. So what the fuck is this person talking about? Here you go. Clark notes that the studio behind the franchise, Warner Brothers, has been interested in exploring their characters from as many angles as possible, which allowed the Batman team to ignore anything else being done with the same hero. That still does not make any damn sense. Check out Clark's quote below. Warner Bros. Is a multiverse where they're exploring different ways to use the character. We don't get involved in that. Matt is interested in pushing his character to his emotional depths and shaking him to his core. What the hell does that got to do with anything? You could have still made a standalone Batman movie of a younger Ben Affleck, and it's still not been really connected. Because think about it, Wonder Woman. Did they bring up Superman? Did they bring up Justice League? No, they did not. So what the fuck is this person talking about? Aquaman, did they bring up any of this shit? No, they did not. In Shazam, did they bring up any of this shit? What the hell is this dude talking about? Even if you look at the Marvel movies, Ant-Man is basically a standalone. Yes, it's a part of the MCU, but it doesn't actually really have much to do with anything else that's going on in there. It's a story within the story, much like Black Widow. What the fuck in Black Widow happens to anything else that happens in the DCE in the MCU? What the hell is this dude talking about? So now with this Batman, I heard, I'm not sure exactly how, been rumors that they're actually talking about making another cinematic universe where the Joker is actually a part of the Batman, as well as the Penguin having his own diverging a spinoff series. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you basically make these two shared universes? That does not make any sense. I mean, I get to have Arrowverse too, but I think at this point, I understand that Kevin Feige is behind a lot of this, and I understand that he has a set vision and everything. And he's like, okay, fuck what Zack Snyder got. I'm like, Zack Snyder started this shit, but that don't mean you can't take it and build upon it. Why would you sit there and bring some of the best iterations of these characters onto film? The best Wonder Woman, hands down. The best Flash, hands down. Best Cyborg, the best Aquaman. Ben Affleck is one of the best Batman, and the best Zod. I mean, we fucking even got to see Darkseid. So, I don't understand what the decision making is behind this. I think for the most part, I guess they're going to make standalone films like this, make it standalone films that are, I don't know, because personally, the Joker film could have been any other villain. The Joker film could have been a good origin story with the Riddler from the Batman. That could have been like his origin story. But ultimately, I think it was a mistake doing this because, again, DC is seemingly stretching themselves thin. I was okay with them making standalone films outside of the DCEU, but to just say and it was kind of more of like the obscure characters where they could just basically have their own little story going on, kind of like the way Venom is in the Sony Spider-Man universe. Yeah, Venom had his own movie, but it had nothing to do with Spider-Man. So it's like, why couldn't we actually have that exact same effort being put into the DCEU as they put in? And it seemed like they're putting more effort into making these standalone films instead of just making like a good DCEU editions. You know what I mean? And like I said, I like Robert Pattinson. I like the story, and it has the dark tone, the same dark tone people were pissed off about Man of Steel, Batman v Superman is in this freaking movie. So I'm like, and the dark tone that Batman brings to Batman v Superman is definitely in this movie. So why is this movie not actually a part of the DCEU? Again, it could have been just a retelling of him in his younger years, set after Wonder Woman 1984 in the year 2000-ish. I don't know, like 20 years prior or something. That would have made more sense. And that would have been a good way to introduce Catwoman to the DCEU, Penguin to the DCEU, the Riddler to the DCEU, because at this point the Riddler is young, and he could have been just a better older version of the character being brought into the DCEU. And just ultimately, I don't know what they're going to do with this. I know that There was this big acquisition. Kevin Feige still got some pull over what's going on and everything. And it feels like it's like Kevin Feige is like, okay, we got the Zack Snyder stuff project out there, so let's just abandon it, slowly but surely abandon it, especially with the Flash movie, which is supposed to shake up and reboot the DCEU. And I'm like, how is that gonna reboot the DCEU? Did you not see what happened in Flashpoint? In Flashpoint, he went back, tried to change it, realized changing it was bad, and then sent it back to where it originally was. So what the hell are you talking about? Were they going to do that with the DCEU too? They're going to try to change it, realize the changes are trash, and then try to and then go back to originally what it was. So I'm not sure what they're going to go with it, but this is what I want them to do. I don't mind them again going out their way to make these certain standalone films, but films that I believe actually have merit and deserve to be in the DCU to help build it. Go with that. Like if you're gonna have a Supergirl movie, don't have a Supergirl movie outside of the DCEU because that character can be introduced in the DCEU. Now, if you want to tell a different Superman story, don't do that. Put that in the DCU too, because I want to see Brainiac. I saw Darkseid. I wanted to see more from Darkseid, but I want to see Brainiac now. I want to see somebody's incarnation of Brainiac. But I think DCU needs to stop doing that because I think one of the problems is they keep comparing themselves to the MCU. They have enough juice to tell unique stories. You got the Blue Beetle that's supposed to be coming out, the Batgirl that's supposed to be coming out. What are those supposed to be standalones too? Are those supposed to be a part of the original DCEU? Are those supposed to be a part of the rebooted DCEU? And what about the Wonder Woman film? Is that going to be part of it? What about Aquaman, Black Adam? And I have to say this: I have no interest in watching Black Adam. Look, The Rock looks like Black Adam, but all I see is The Rock. They took almost next to no liberties whatsoever and put forth no effort whatsoever into making this dude look like Black Adam. Look, I know it's cheap and everything. I want the pointed ears. I want the faded haircut. I want all of that. I don't want to see The Rock looking like The Rock. I want the put the little thing on his chin to make his chin look a little bit different than his nose as well. Make this dude look like Black Adam and not The Rock. That was one of my problems. Y'all. I don't know what video I put that on the other channel, but I was ranting about that. But anyways, I think that, like I said, the Batman is a really good movie, and I feel like if this was a part of the DCEU, it could have been a good contributing factor to it. Look how well it's done box office wise. Is what 700 million off of roughly 150. Well, it's like 100 to 200 $1 million budget, so they made their money back. They've done a really good job. It's got a lot of good praise, both from audiences and critics and everything. Just a really good movie. And the fact that they decided that the best thing to do is to go this route to make it a quote unquote, standalone. But now that there's rumors coming out saying that they're actually trying to make a cinematic universe within that's just too much of a problem. I think it takes away from ultimately from a good idea, which is the DCEU. So, having said that, Matt Reeves, not Matt Reeves, what was it? Dylan Clark, producer Dylan Clark. What you said about what we don't, Warner Brothers has a multiverse where they're exploring different ways to use the character. We don't get involved in that. I'm like, Matt is interested in pushing this character to his emotional depths and shaking him to his core. And I'm like, you could have did that exact same fucking thing with it being a part of the DCEU. There's already enough stuff going on in Batman's backstory that could have been explored that wasn't explored, and now y'all taking the liberty not to explore that. It's just lazy. And like I said, they're fucking over. They are doing the most. You got Ben Affleck walking off because he don't want to be Batman because these dumbasses are just trying to screw him over. You got Henry Cavill, one of the best Superman. And I love Christopher Reeve, but Henry Cavill is the fucking best Superman out there. And if you put a movie with this guy in it as Superman, it's gonna fucking kill. But you got dumbasses that are making dumb decisions, thinking and instead of making a good Ben Affleck movie, we got the Flash here bringing back Michael Keaton, who's like fucking 60 or 70 years old. Nobody wants to see an old ass Batman, which is a nostalgia bait. And what the hell is Batman doing 60, 70 years old still doing being Batman. At this point, it should be either Nightwing, Terry McGinnis, one of the other mini Robs, or Batgirl at this point, taking over the mantle. Long time ago. If he was a mentor, fine, but I don't want to see no old ass Batman. I like Michael Keaton. I really do. I thought he was a really good Batman. I thought he was a really good Vulture. And I like him damn near everything else he's in. But anyways, my biggest thing is the DCEU still has potential, but and I hope whatever shakeup they're doing at DC, if they're gonna go this route with having the cinematic universe, particularly I guess with Batman, I haven't really heard them speak about having like this all-encompassing one like the DCEU is, but potentially just a Batman cinematic universe, then I'm all for that. But at the same time, I don't want that to deprive the DCEU itself of it, which I think it has. That's the same crap that happened with the Harley Quinn film. That's why it wasn't done so well, because it was a good idea, but they fucked it up. And then on top of that, you got the Batman, which could have been a good Batman, Ben Affleck DCEU film, but they decided to just rip from that. So it's like, stop. You know what I mean? It's like having a pizza. You put cheese on it, and you put pepperoni on it, and you decide to just take the fucking cheese off this pizza and put it on another pizza. You know, it's like a cheese pizza with the sauce and the cheese, and you decide instead of just making a good cheese pizza, you're gonna make another pie and put the cheese on there and leave this pie with just sauce on it. And I'm like, damn, that's not good. Could have just left that cheese on this. Or hell, this got the sauce with pepperoni, and then this got the cheese over here. And it's like, why would you do that? You could have just left that on there. You know what I'm saying? Just, I don't know, but that's just my thoughts about it. I like the Batman. I thought it was a really good movie. I thought it would have been a great addition to the DCEU film. And I feel like in my mind, I would kind of play it as if it were. I still would kind of play it as if it were. Now, when the next Catwoman come out and next Batman movie come out, if they continue with it, because I'm really concerned about the DCEU at this point, because it feels like they don't know what they want to do. They would have all of these projects, but they want to make them all standalones, but not a part of the DCEU, but kind of part of the DCEU. And it's like, I don't know what they're going with this. I don't know what they're doing, but they need to get their head out their asses and figure it out, because I want to see more Henry Cavill. I want to see more Ben Affleck. I think this is the last that they're going to do for these films, because of what happened, with the Zack Snyder cut. I think that's the last of them. I hope it's not. I hope somebody that gives a fuck gets back in this studio and makes some deals bust, so we can get some actual good DC movies. Because DC, like I said, I like the DCEU. Keep that shit going. If they want to do something else, fine. But anyways, those are my thoughts. In the comment section below, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think that the Batman should have been a part of the DCEU? Because me personally, outside of Jeffrey Wright being a part of the DCU, they could have put some white dude there and let him be Jim Gordon, and that could have fed into the Jim Gordon we saw in the DCEU. Much like what's the name played Alfred, could have been just a younger Alfred in my eyes, but compared to the older one that we see in the DCEU. But generally, basically, yes. Do you think that Batman should have been a younger Ben Affleck version in the DCEU? Also, did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? And did I make any decent points in this? Because I'm interested to see what people got to say about it. And sorry I am late. I'm like an hour and a half late. Emergency. But anyways, in the comment section below, just let me know what your thoughts are. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best what we got going on this channel. We'll definitely catch you guys later.